No tribute. No closure. And the one person who should have spoken vanished. July 20th, 2025. A father, a daughter, and a quiet beach in Costa Rica. Laughter in the air. A gentle breeze. Don't cry, baby. I'll go get your ball. That was the last thing he ever said. Seconds later, silence. Then a scream. Daddy's not coming back. Witnesses say she...
Pause for a second. Imagine being 8 years old, watching the waves take away your entire world. No movie, no show, no amount of life experience prepares you for that moment. And here's the thing. Every witness says she didn't cry. But does that mean she didn't feel it? Or that the shock froze her completely? What do you
stood there, his daughter, staring at her father's lifeless body as it was pulled from the water. No tears. No words. Just pure, soul-shattering stillness. CPR for 45 minutes. Every second, a prayer. But it was over. The world woke up to heartbreak. Theo Huxtable is gone. Fans lit up social media. Celebrities paid tribute. The internet mourned. But amid the global outpour of love and grief, his wife was silent.
This is where the silence turns into a mystery. We're not talking about a simple PR choice here. Refusing a funeral, no statements, nothing. That's not just unusual. It's almost a statement in itself. And in the court of public opinion, silence is often treated as an admission, whether it's fair or not.
No photo, no post, no words, not even a goodbye. And then came the gut punch. No public funeral, no live stream, no memorial, nothing. Just closed doors, dark curtains, and the sound of a world asking, why is she hiding? What is she running from? Some said she was protecting their daughter. Others whispered of secrets, of shame, of something darker. But one thing was clear. Her silence was louder than any scream. And then, a child's voice trembling. Don't cover Daddy. I need to see how he comes back. This isn't just a celebrity death. It's a story of love, loss, mystery, and a farewell the world was never allowed to say. Watch till the end. Because sometimes, silence isn't peace, it's pain. He promised her he'd be right back. She never saw him again. And the one person who could explain what really happened disappeared. July 20th, 2025. Costa Rica. A hidden stretch of coastline called Playa Grande. No red carpets. No fans. No press. Just Malcolm Jamal Warner, his wife, and their 8-year-old daughter enjoying a rare moment of peace. A break from the world. A quiet escape. He was smiling that day. Locals say he looked free. Barefoot in the sand, sun on his skin, laughing with his daughter as she chased a red and yellow beach ball across the shore. Until it rolled into the water. And everything changed. She cried, terrified the waves would steal it. And Malcolm? He smiled, knelt down, and whispered something only a father can say. Don't cry, baby. I'll go get your ball. That was it. That was the last thing he ever said. Witnesses say he jogged into the water, confident, calm. But Playa Grande is a beautiful liar. Beneath its surface, it hides death. Strong rip currents. Drop-offs that swallow men whole. In seconds, he was gone. Pulled under. What followed was chaos. A doctor vacationing nearby ran into the water with his surfboard. Lifeguards arrived within minutes. CPR was performed for 45 minutes. 45 minutes. Chest compressions. Breath after breath. Desperation in the eyes of strangers trying to save a man they'd never met. And a child, his daughter, watching it all. Frozen. Silent. Not once did she look away. One witness later said she kept whispering. He said he'd come back. But he didn't. At just 54 years old, Malcolm Jamal Warner, Theo from The Cosby Show, a face millions grew up with, was pronounced dead. The official cause: accidental drowning. By sunset, the news had spread across the globe. Malcolm Jamal Warner dead at 54. Beloved Theo Huxtable, star drowns in Costa Rica. Gone too soon. Fans were in disbelief. For generations, Malcolm wasn't just an actor. He was family. He was Theo, the goofy big brother who messed up, learned lessons, made us laugh, and always had a comeback. Clips from The Cosby Show flooded social media. Theo dancing in his bedroom. Theo getting lectured by Cliff Huxtable. Theo just being Theo, the boy we all grew up with. Celebrities poured out their grief. Angela Bassett shared a black and white photo of him with the caption, "A light has gone out in our culture." Regina King, once romantically linked to Malcolm, posted just one word: shattered. Tracy Ellis Ross called him the heartbeat of black sitcom history. Even Bill Cosby, from the shadows of controversy, said, "He was like a son to me. My heart is broken." And for millions of fans, it wasn't just mourning, it was personal. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, flooded with memories. People said he raised them through the screen. That when their own fathers were absent, Theo was there. That he made them laugh when life didn't. But as the world came together to grieve, one voice remained silent. The most important voice.
Now here's where it gets sticky from a legal standpoint. If the spouse chooses to make a funeral private, they're within their rights. But when the deceased is a public figure, the line between privacy and public expectation blurs. And in Malcolm's case, the public felt like they'd been cut out of the grieving process entirely.
His wife. No photo. No statement. No acknowledgement. Not even a simple, "Thank you for your love and support." People noticed. And they started asking questions. Where is she? Why hasn't she spoken? Why hasn't she said goodbye? At first, fans were sympathetic. She must be devastated. She's protecting their daughter. She doesn't owe us anything. But then came the silence. Days passed. Tributes only grew louder. Candlelight vigils. Fan-made videos. Memorial threads. But still, not a single word from the woman who was by his side when he died. And then, the next blow. There would be no public funeral. No live stream. No memorial. No final goodbye. A private ceremony. Behind closed doors. No cameras. No fans. No press. The statement came from a source close to the family, not even her. And, just like that, the last hope for closure was gone. The backlash was instant. One fan posted, "He was our family too. She can't just erase that." Another wrote, "All we wanted was to say goodbye." Hashtags began trending. Hashtag let us say goodbye. Hashtag justice for Theo. Hashtag where is Malcolm wife. Some fans grew angry. Some grew suspicious. Some were just heartbroken all over again. The silence became a storm. Blogs speculated. Was she hiding something? Was the marriage real? Why no photos? Why no public record? A few called her a ghost. Others a mystery. And some, something worse. But through the noise, one moment stood out. A witness from the beach, anonymous but verified, gave this chilling account. The little girl, she was watching her father being pulled from the waves. When a lifeguard tried to cover her eyes, she whispered, "Don't. I need to see how he comes back." And then she stood there, staring at his lifeless body, holding her mom's hand. But her mom? She said nothing, just stared at the ocean, as if it had stolen her soul too. And maybe it did, because after that moment, she vanished. No appearances, no public mourning, no press, nothing, not even a name. To this day, no one knows who she really is. There were rumors that she worked in the music industry, that they married in secret around 2018, but no wedding photos, no red carpets, no Instagram posts, no verified records. It's like she never existed. Until now. And now, the world wants answers. Because it wasn't just about a man dying. It was about a symbol disappearing. Theo wasn't just a character. He was a generation's comfort. A cultural mirror. A Thursday night ritual. And now, without a funeral, without a tribute, and without even a word, it feels like that symbol was ripped away in silence. But maybe that's what she wanted. Maybe Malcolm asked her to protect their peace, not perform for the world. Maybe she's honoring his legacy by preserving what the world never saw. Maybe that silence is the tribute. Or maybe, we'll never really know. But one thing's for sure. When someone like Theo dies, you don't just move on. You grieve. You remember. You say goodbye. But this time, the world never got the chance. But it wasn't just the photo that made the world stop. It was what came next. A retired airport staffer who recognized Malcolm Jamal Warner from old reruns came forward with a shocking statement. He told a local tabloid that the woman in the hoodie never shed a single tear. Not while boarding, not while hugging the pilot, not even when the little girl broke down at the top of the stairs and cried, "I want daddy." Instead, the woman allegedly whispered something back that sent chills down the worker's spine. She said, "Daddy's gone. Don't make a scene." The internet lit up in rage. Who talks like that to a grieving child? Where is her humanity? And just like that, the woman once praised for being the quiet strength.
Legally, the phrase "no criminal investigation at this time" is like a loaded gun in a press release. It says just enough to calm the surface, but leaves a tidal wave of questions beneath. If there's nothing to see, why not say that? And this, combined with the autopsy leak, made the public's suspicion skyrocket.
Behind Malcolm's smile was now branded the Ice Queen. A flood of questions followed. Where was she going? Why didn't she attend the funeral? Why was it being kept private? And above all, why did she disappear the same night her husband died? The pressure was rising fast. So much that even Malcolm's publicist had to release a vague statement. The family requests privacy during this deeply difficult time. But it was too late. The world wanted answers. And what they got was worse than anyone could have imagined. 10 days after the drowning, an anonymous Reddit post appeared on a fan forum. It was titled, "I worked at the beach house where Malcolm died. You have no idea what happened that night." At first, people thought it was fake. But the details were too specific. The user claimed to be one of the house staff. And according to them, something was off from the moment the family arrived. Malcolm was quiet, almost withdrawn. But his wife? Distant. Cold. Always on her phone. Barely speaking. Barely looking at him. She didn't even unpack, the post read. She just walked into the master bedroom, locked the door, and didn't come out until morning. On the second night, things took a darker turn. The same staff member claimed they heard raised voices, arguing, slamming doors, and something that sounded like crying, not from Malcolm, not from Liana, but from her. And then, silence. The next morning, Malcolm looked exhausted. But when asked if everything was okay, he simply smiled and said, "Just a rough night. Families fight sometimes." But that wasn't the end of it. The staff member claimed that the very day Malcolm drowned, mere hours before the incident, he and his wife had a tense conversation on the beach. No yelling, just sharp whispers. A lot of finger-pointing. And then, she walked away. Alone. Without Liana. Without Malcolm. She disappeared down a trail leading to the private cabana spa, phone in hand. Malcolm stayed behind with Liana, looking visibly shaken. Just 4 hours later, he was gone. Fans went into meltdown. TikTokers analyzed the photo of the woman boarding the jet frame by frame. Twitter exploded with hashtags. Hashtag, where is Malcolm's wife? Hashtag, justice for Theo. Hashtag, she knows something. But just when it felt like the story couldn't get darker, it did. The autopsy report leaked. And it shattered everything. Contrary to early reports, Malcolm didn't die instantly. He suffered a seizure underwater. A rare neurological event triggered not just by panic, but possibly by pre-existing trauma to the head. Theories flew wild. How did he hit his head? Did he fall? Was there an earlier injury? Or was he injured before he ever entered the water? Suddenly, people started connecting dots that no one dared mention out loud. The argument. The private fight. The isolation. The fact that no security cameras faced the back of the villa. And then, her disappearance. It didn't help that the family lawyer released a carefully worded statement that only fueled suspicion. There is no criminal investigation at this time. The family is grieving privately and appreciates your understanding. At this time. Not there was no foul play. Not there's no reason to suspect anything. Just not right now. People weren't buying it. And then one of Malcolm's closest friends broke the silence. An old co-star. A brother from another mother. Someone who had shared the stage with him, the screen with him, and apparently, the truth. He didn't name names. But in a teary IG Live, he said this. Malcolm told me weeks ago he wasn't happy. He said he didn't feel safe. That the energy at home had changed. That he was staying for Liana. And if anything happened to him, if anything ever went wrong, he said, look at who's left standing. I thought he meant emotionally. I didn't think he meant literally. The comment section was flooded. She did it. He was warning us. No wonder she ran. And just when the fire started dying down, TMZ dropped the biggest bomb yet. A sealed custody petition. Filed months before the trip. It wasn't by Malcolm. It was by his wife. She was seeking full custody of Liana, with the claim that Malcolm was mentally unstable and unfit to parent. The papers were quiet, discreet, never made it to court, but someone leaked them, and now the entire world had receipts. Why would a loving wife file for custody and then take a sudden vacation with the man she wanted to keep away from their child? Why vanish the moment he dies? Why refuse to bury him publicly? And why has she to this day never spoken his name again? Malcolm Jamal Warner's fans are still demanding answers, still holding vigils, still putting flowers outside Cosby Show studios and writing Theo forever in chalk on Hollywood sidewalks. But Liana? She hasn't been seen since. Rumors say she's overseas, in hiding, under a different last name. Others claim she's being raised by Malcolm's sister far from the woman who boarded that jet. And the wife? Some say she's in Paris. Some say she's living quietly in Morocco. Some say she never left Costa Rica.
This is the gut punch. His own will requesting that his wife not attend the service. That's not a minor marital spat. That's a legal document carrying emotional dynamite. And from a legal commentary perspective, that single clause speaks volumes about the state of their relationship in his final months.
But one thing is certain. She never said goodbye. No funeral. No tribute. No tears. Just a jet. A child. And a silence that refuses to break. And until the truth comes out, the world will keep asking the question. Why did Malcolm Jamal Warner's wife vanish after his death? And just when everyone thought the grief had reached its limit, just when it felt like the tears had dried, and the silence had settled, life dealt one final blow. It wasn't from the press. It wasn't from the church. It wasn't even from Malcolm's family. It was from a lawyer. A man in a charcoal gray suit stepped forward at the courthouse steps 3 weeks after Malcolm's death. The media had stopped watching. The fans had mostly gone quiet. But that man's briefcase held a letter that changed everything. It was Malcolm's will. And in it was something no one was prepared to see. He didn't want a funeral. He didn't want a tribute. And the most shocking part? He requested that his wife not be present. The letter, written in Malcolm's own handwriting and notarized 6 months before his death, stated clearly, "If I pass unexpectedly, I ask that my daughter be surrounded by love, truth, and healing. But I do not wish for my wife to speak at my service. Too much has been left unsaid. Let my silence speak." The words shattered everyone's understanding of their marriage. Wait, what? The world had assumed their relationship was perfect. They looked happy on red carpets, smiled in family interviews, and never once aired dirty laundry. But this letter, this single page, told a story the public never saw. The heartbreak deepened. Fans felt lied to. And many asked, what truth was hidden behind that silence? But the story didn't end there. Because just 2 days later, she reappeared. After 27 days of total silence, no public statements, no social media, not even a photograph. She walked into a grief therapy center in upstate New York.
So here we are, between leaked voicemails, custody filings, and missing public appearances. The real question isn't just, what happened to Malcolm? It's who controls the narrative now? Because in the absence of facts, stories grow wild.
Holding the hand of her daughter, paparazzi caught the moment. The little girl looked pale, thin, like she hadn't eaten properly in days. And the mother? She wore no makeup, no jewelry, and on her ring finger? Nothing. The wedding band was gone. When a reporter asked her, "Why weren't you there for his goodbye?" she didn't speak. But her daughter did. In a voice barely above a whisper, she said, "Daddy told her not to come." The clip went viral in less than an hour. Millions shared it. Thousands wept. And suddenly, what had once been whispered in dark corners of comment sections became the loudest question online. What happened in that marriage? It didn't take long before former friends and colleagues began speaking out. An ex-co-star revealed that Malcolm had been dealing with intense emotional battles in the final year of his life. He had grown distant, detached, not from his fans, but from someone close. Someone he used to call his peace. But that peace, it seems, had shattered long before the ocean took him. Rumors swirled about therapy, about separations, even about custody disagreements. But no one had any proof until now. Because just a few hours after the therapy center photo went viral, a leaked voicemail hit the internet. A voice, unmistakably Malcolm's, left a message for his attorney just weeks before the family trip. And in it, he said, "I'm tired of pretending. If something happens to me, don't let her rewrite the story. Protect my daughter. Please. That's all I care about." The message cut like a knife. It wasn't just a man preparing for death. It was a man who knew that something wasn't right. That if the world only heard her version, the truth might be lost forever. By now, fans were in complete emotional freefall. Some defended her. Others turned on her. And then, once again, silence. Until one final, unexpected event brought everything crashing down. On the 40th day after Malcolm's passing, a private service was held by his mother and siblings in a small church in Brooklyn, his childhood home. Only close friends, family, and former cast members were invited. But when the service began, something extraordinary happened. A little girl stood up. No script. No rehearsal. Just her, and a photo of her father. She said, "My dad didn't want a big funeral. He didn't want music or flowers. He just wanted peace. But I need to say this, because I couldn't say it on the beach when they took him away. I love you, Daddy. I saw what happened. I saw who tried to help and who didn't. And I will never forget." A gasp rippled through the crowd. What did she mean? Who didn't help? Was she referring to her mother? No one dared to say it. But in that moment, something broke in every person watching. The child's voice cracked. She started to cry. And as her small hands held the frame tighter, the church, filled with grown men and women, fell completely silent. Some sobbed quietly. Others openly wept. And some simply walked out, unable to bear the weight of the truth they didn't understand, but deeply felt. By the end of the day, that moment, captured by a single hidden camera, had circled the globe. People wrote poems. Artists painted portraits. Celebrities who had never met Malcolm shared messages of regret, sorrow, and confusion. And still, no statement came from his wife. Not a single word. Not an apology. Not a denial. Not even a thank you to those mourning her husband. She vanished again. And this time, no one went looking. Because maybe the most painful goodbyes are the ones we never get. This wasn't just a celebrity death. It was a cultural heartbreak. A silent unraveling of a love story that the world believed in only to realize they never knew the truth. No goodbye. No tribute. No closure. Only questions. Echoes. And the soft, steady voice of a daughter who finally found the courage to speak. And maybe, just maybe, that was the farewell Malcolm truly deserved. This story wasn't just about loss. It was about silence. About the heartbreak that never got a voice. About a man who gave the world laughter, and a woman who disappeared with all his final goodbyes. So now we ask you, where was she? Why didn't she come? No tears. No flowers. No message. No goodbye. And while the world mourned Malcolm Jamal Warner, the man behind Theo Huxtable, the woman who shared his bed, his secrets, his soul, never showed up. That's not just painful. That's haunting. The footage, the interviews, the empty front row seat at the funeral. It all speaks louder than words. And it leaves us shattered with one burning question: what happened behind those closed doors? If this story moved you, if it broke you the way it broke us, then don't scroll away. Comment below. Do you think she loved him? Or was she hiding something bigger than grief? Smash that like button if you believe Malcolm deserved more. Deserved a goodbye. Deserved closure. And don't forget to subscribe, because this isn't over. We're digging deeper. Whispers of betrayal. Unsealed files. And a name that keeps popping up linked to both Malcolm's past and his wife's shocking disappearance. You won't believe what we uncovered. Turn on notifications. Because when the truth drops, you'll want